My name is Amy Penn. I'm a fire information officer with the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources. I'm on scene here at the Pallet Fire in Waushara County. So I wanted to provide a quick update for where we're at right now. First thing, it's an evolving incident. The fire is currently approximately 800 acres and growing. So we are, it is not contained. We're still working on fire suppression, still trying to get a ring around it. So we're still working on that. We know that the fire, or we can explain that it's near Coloma, Waushara County. It initially started at 1 p.m. this afternoon. It started south of Highway 21 and then burned across Highway 21. Evacuations did occur. There was a Nixle call that came out from the county emergency management, and so people were notified. Evacuations took place. There is a reunification center up at the Coloma Community Center, and we are working on putting together a time to meet with those folks, hopefully soon. We are releasing information on our DNR website and Facebook page, and there may also be some information coming from Waushara County as well. So let me say it also that the cause is still under investigation, and we don't have a lot of the specifics, but we still have a lot of resources arriving on scene, multiple fire departments, DNR wildland firefighters, Wisconsin State Patrol, and Waushara County Sheriff's Office and Emergency Management are all on scene, and we're deploying resources and working on where people are going to be working right now. Go ahead if you have any questions.
How many people were evacuated?
I don't know exactly how many people were evacuated. My understanding is it's a fairly small number, but we should know better. Hopefully by later tonight, we'll have some of that information better.
Do you know about what time the evacuation started?
So I believe the fire initiated about 1 p.m. and those evacuations happened right away. So the notification went out right away from the county to evacuate, and I believe those all occurred. And it seems like now, that was already finished early on. So
The evacuations happened before the fire jumped to the highway?
That's my understanding.
Okay.
Do you know where they are located, people that evacuated?
Well, there's a reunification center that we set up at Coloma Community Center, but people left and they scattered, so people probably went to stay someplace else for the night. Very fair guess that people won't be allowed in the fire area, for sure not tonight. First thing we got to do is get containment on this fire to keep it safe.
Many of those people were members of the Amish community at the community center. Is this a really rural area that's being impacted by the fire?
Yeah, in general, that part of Coloma is fairly, it is a rural area. But I wasn't aware of that, so.
Any injuries reported so far?
Not to my knowledge.
Can you describe some of the methods or techniques that are being used right now for the fire suppression?
Yes, so we have lots of fire departments that are on scene. They're working on structure protection. The wildland firefighters are on scene. We have airplanes in the air. We have rangers that are leading crews on the ground, and we have heavy equipment that is working on putting in furrows around. So they start at the initiating point of the fire, and then they start working on both sides, putting in a furrow that keeps the fire from spreading. We've had some trouble with spot fires. So what that means is the spot goes out ahead of the fire, and we have to kind of catch it then. So we start at that initial point, and then we try to work containment lines around it. Once we reach that point where we've closed it, we'll say that the fire is contained. But even once it's contained, it'll take time to make sure that it's completely out. Fortunately, we have some rain in the forecast, so I'm hoping we get a good dump tonight, but we'll see.
And before that rain, this has been a really dry time. Is that part of what's fueling this fire? Can you speak to the current conditions?
Absolutely. So typically our fire season in Wisconsin is spring. So generally when the snow melts up until green up, March, April, May, that's when we have the majority of our fires. So we started staffing with our firefighters in March, and we have not stopped yet. So we are in drought conditions, as you know. The rain we've gotten has been very spotty, and we haven't gotten a good soaking rain across the area. On our sandy soils here in central Wisconsin, it takes a really good soaking, and it's of course harder when it's so dry and we have that drought. So fire conditions were at high for most of Wisconsin today, and so that just fuels it. I mean, the heat, the humidity, and things like that. So, and I guess there's going to be a wind shift coming. Is expected this evening, which will it'll turn the fire. Right now it's growing to the northeast, the wind's supposed to shift, and then it will burn it back into the fire area. So that would also help us if that happens.
Is this one of the worst fires you've seen working for the
Uh,
DNR in this area?
yeah, so well, I guess what I can say is, I don't know if it's the worst fire I've seen, but at 800 acres is a significant fire. And with structure involvement, that always elevates the concern for sure, and evacuations, that's how you kind of know. You may recall that there was quite a large fire in the spring this year that was several thousand acres. So, and the last really large fire we had in this area was the Cottonville fire in 2005. That was 3,400 acres. So 800 is definitely 800 and growing. So definitely a concern.
And then can I ask a question about kind of the air quality? Because I know that there was a lot of smoke that I was seeing from a lot of videos. So what, I don't know if you can speak to it. Is the air quality okay right now? Because I know that probably, like you said, the wind is going to shift a little bit, but like is that blowing towards people? Should people stay away from certain, I know of course the fire, of course, but is it billowing one way?
Yeah, so right now with the wind coming out of the southwest, it's blowing to the northeast. So I can't speak very much to air quality. The DNR does monitor air quality. So on the webpage, usually it will talk about air quality and what those concerns may be. If we get any more of that information, we'll share it. That's very important for public safety. But certainly right now, we are focused on getting a line around this fire.
And as of right now, 0% containment in terms of, you know, how much is actually contained right now. Like, it's still growing.
It's still growing, so there may be a certain amount of containment, but we don't generally talk in those terms, and it is something that's more common out west, but we certainly are flanking it. So how far we are on flanking it, you know, it's hard to say right now. So we do have a lot of resources. We have a lot of resources on scene. So I think it's mainly the overhead management of just getting organized and making sure that we have that good intel and kind of figure out where we're going from here. I wish I could tell you more about the structures that are ahead of the fire. That I don't know yet. So we will be able to provide more information on that later. But we still have, my team is still arriving. So
Timeline, how long do you think this will last? What are you guys hoping for?
well, let me talk about what's usual, because I hope it stops right now. So what's usual in Wisconsin, we can have some large fires, but typically they are contained within a day. That is what's normal for Wisconsin. That doesn't mean that we leave the area. The fire area would, even if we do reach containment, or at that point, there's still a lot of work. There's still fire burning within that line. So the area will remain closed. Firefighters will be working to make sure that they'll be checking on houses. They'll be putting out hot spots, and mopping up is the term that we use to make sure that all those areas of fire out. So we are looking at the public not being allowed in that area. It's going to be some time. We'll know more, I think, by the time we find out what does the weather do overnight. Usually fire activity falls off at night. It cools off, the humidities raise up. That helps a lot. And so usually by the evening, things are starting to calm down a bit in terms of being able to make that containment line. So I think we'll know a lot more how we're doing by the time we get to tonight. Let's see what the weather does. And I think by tomorrow we'll have some more information.
There was information about 3 structures that were impacted by this. Can you tell us any information about those structures?
So what I can tell you about structures is definitely structures have been impacted. Firefighting resources are right now canvassing the area, and they're making notes on where is their damage, where is their loss, what are the addresses. So I imagine by tomorrow we'll know a little bit more about that. We hate to see any kind of structural loss, whether those are, it could be a home, it could be a shed, it could be a garage. So we say structure, it could be anything. And right now we don't have the details on that quite yet.
Anything else? Okay.
All right, thank you.
News 3 Now is always on.
Get the Channel 3000 app, activate the push alerts, and we will send you breaking news, traffic, and weather alerts as it happens.
The Channel 3000 app. Get it now.
Powered by News 3 Now.